voice, your vote. He's been the face of K2 for decades. He's interviewed hundreds of people on this show. Today, he's in the hot seat. It's Steve Dunn's turn to answer the questions. Why he's leaving K2 after nearly 39 years. What you may not know about him, but you're quite the prankster as well.
And it's gotten me in a lot of trouble, to be honest with you. In fact, here at K2, I'm surprised I still have this job, to be very honest with you.
A look back at some of Steve's most memorable moments. Your voice, your vote starts right now.
From K2 News, this is Your Voice, Your Vote with Steve Dunn.
Hi, everybody. Great to have you with us on this Sunday, September 7th. I announced last week on K2 News that I'm ready to enter a new phase in my life. After almost 39 years as a news anchor at K2 and 13 years hosting this program, I'll be leaving K2 in mid-December, although you will see me on the air occasionally for some special events. My K2 colleagues refused to let me just ride into the sunset. That was my hope, and that includes my co-anchor for the last 20 years, Deb Knapp. Since I usually do the interviewing on this show, Deb wants to turn the tables and interview me, and I have no idea what she's going to ask, but I'm going to find out, and I may be running out of here real fast.
No, this is going to be fun. I promise, and I'll be gentle.
Oh, that's what you say. It's going to be fun.
It'll be gentle.
Okay.
Okay, let's talk about how this program actually started. We're going to go back to the beginning of the show. We have a clip from the first show. It aired in January of 2012. The topic, the congressional race for Oregon's 1st District. Democrat Suzanne Bonamici and Republican Rob Cornelius were running to replace David Wu in Oregon's 1st Congressional District. Cornelius was our first guest. Bonamici was our second guest, and she still holds that seat today. So here's a brief portion of that first show.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our very first edition of Your Voice, Your Vote. I'm Steve Dunn. And every Sunday, we take your questions and some of our own to Oregon and Southwest Washington news leaders. Our very first guest is Republican Rob Cornelius, who's running for David Wu's vacant seat in Congressional District Number 1. His opponent, Suzanne Bonamici, appears on next week's show. And Rob, thank you very much for joining us. As you well know, Oregon's 1st Congressional District leans Democratic. In fact, that district has voters in Clatsop, Columbia, Washington, Yamhill counties, and a small portion of Portland. A Democrat has been representing that district for nearly 4 decades now. So how do you, as a Republican, Rob, convince voters that you're the guy and it's time for Republican in that district now?
I think you still have that tie.
Yeah, I wish I still had the hair.
You do. You do.
Well, let me just say that we started that program, this program, Your Voice, Your Vote, 13 years ago. And news director at the time pulled me in and he said, hey, we want to do this political show just to cover us through the election. So this was in January. He said, get us through November and then we're done with this. And here we are 13 years later, thanks to the great viewers out there who've continued to watch this, that we've still done this program. But it was supposed to be just that, what, 10, 11-month deal.
Well, I know you've interviewed hundreds of really fascinating people, especially on this program. Is there one that stands out to you more than the rest?
Well, we've interviewed, you know, a lot of governors, a lot of senators, a lot of people running for office, of course. But who can forget Senator Peter Courtney, of course, the Senate president. And Peter and I had a long-standing relationship, and he was a very gruff guy in the outside a lot, but I knew him as a real soft teddy bear in so many ways. And he would give me a hard time about the ties I would wear and the suits I would wear, and he'd talk about my hair and whatever else. But I loved interviewing Peter, and I think we're going to play a little portion of some of that right now. If you change your mind on retirement, will you call me, let me know?
Well, I won't, because you'll be in bed. And here's the deal. You were not going to do this. They had to wake you up this morning to do the program. So I'm not going to call somebody who's in bed. Well, you know, that doesn't work.
It shows you how important this was to me, to be able to chat with you about this.
So anyway, I look forward to this interview. I was brokenhearted that you were sleeping in. They had this thing was called off at 11 o'clock. It's being taped now because they said he's sleeping. He didn't want to come in. I said, okay. And then they called me and said, well, we dragged him out of bed. So, you know, that hurts. That hurts. I've helped make you. Let's face it, I've made you.
You did.
And here I am. If I like someone like I like you, why won't you like me as much coming the other way? I mean, why?
Peter, I've always liked you. I truly have. And I will keep in touch with you. I would love to get your opinion as we get closer to the governor's race, too, and get your thoughts on that. So we can get you back on here as many times as you want. You have an open mic from here on out.
Yeah, well, do you have an open mind? Open mics are fine, but I don't know how open the mind is. Mics, You know, open mics can get you in trouble. Did you know that? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes, I know that.
Yeah, I'll bet you do.
Peter, thank you for your time. I know you got
My
other
staff is watching. My staff is watching this. He is gorgeous. The guy's gorgeous. Why can't I have that? I mean, look at the guy. Why does he get to look that way and I got to look this way? I mean, I don't understand that.
Peter, always great to talk with you, my friend, and we will be chatting in the future, and I wish you just wonderful things ahead.
You can tell from that banter how much he really did like you as a person. You guys developed a really great friendship.
Really great friendship. And the late, great Peter Courtney, of course, he passed away. But that guy, I swear to you, I could sit, Deb, for 2 hours and just talk to him. And he was such a smart man. Had so much internal knowledge of what goes on down there at the Capitol. But in fact, I went to his house one time and we sat and talked for a long time. And his lovely wife served us some food down there. And just I miss him dearly, but I loved those interviews with him.
Well, I've watched you develop some intense, wonderful friendships with people, prominent people in this community. Gert Boyle was one of them.
Yes, Gert, of course, a chairwoman of Columbia Sportswear for so long and ran that company for so many years and ran it so well. And she and I developed a relationship where I would, once a month, I would go have lunch with her out at her office there at Columbia. And we would, solve all the world's problems, of course, and develop such a terrific relationship. And of course, she passed away in her mid-90s. And we talk about retirement, Peter Courtney retiring, and I'm talking about mine. I remember Gert Boyle telling me, she said, "Steve, don't ever retire. Don't ever retire. We're gonna just keep doing something. Got to keep the brain moving." And so that is my plan. Once I leave here, I will still be doing something. I remember Gert always in my head telling me that.
Don't doubt that. Bill Schonley was another good friend of yours.
Yes.
He and his wife Dottie.
Absolutely, both. I loved Bill dearly. We'd talk to him regularly, and I just love all the knowledge that these people had because of the businesses they were in, and just great relationships, and I miss all of them.
I feel like we're name dropping, but these were genuine, true friendships for you.
No question about it.
Very evident to anybody in your life.
Yeah, absolutely. And Gert and I never talked about anything we did for our jobs.
Right.
It was never that. It was about family and what she was doing for the weekend or what I was doing for the weekend. It was never anything that she had done in her life, and she wasn't that type of person at all. Very, very humble.
Okay,
all of them.
Let's talk about all the things that you've done here. You've done a lot of town halls at Katu. Here's one that was particularly memorable.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you very much for being here tonight. I can tell you, I cannot beg 600 of my friends to come when I do town hall, but Mr. Jennings shows up tonight. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Peter Jennings. Tell them they're taking our time. I can tell you we have a lot of interesting things to talk about, particularly Iraq. But what else you want to talk about?
Just while I've been flying here from New York today, with a couple of pieces of news which may help us along. The chief U.S.
What do you remember about that day?
I just remember, obviously, a very smart man, and I greatly admired Peter Jennings, the late, great Peter Jennings now. And he spent about 3 days in Portland, and one of the things we did was that town hall. But we had some great conversations just talking about his career. He came to our studio several times, and just the knowledge, again, that he carried with him because of all the years he'd been on the air.
We have another town hall that's coming up in September.
I'm sorry, I'm just all excited to be here with you, Deb. Yes, we do have another town hall coming up on September 18th that you'll want to see. We delve into the city of Portland and some of the issues going on there and what's happening. So we're getting all our guests together now, and that'll be a big one.
Okay. You've done so many stories, 39 years of stories here at K2, so I know it's going to be hard to just pick one, but there's one special one. You went to northern Iraq. Here's a story that you recorded there.
For most of the U.S. soldiers guarding military bases in northern Iraq, it is often a tedious, monotonous job.
You guys ready?
Their duty involves working in one place for hours at a time, leaving little room for recreation.
Here we go.
But at 7 o'clock every single evening, one soldier breaks away from the rest. He is Captain Steve Dunn. As a member of the Army Airborne Combat Team, he spends much of his time in the skies. But for an hour and a half each night, he is very much down to earth with the Curtis children.
It's about a 3.5 mile round trip from the camp, and when I get up here,
They keep me pumped up.
As Captain Sellen makes his way through the camp, it becomes a community-wide event. The crowds get larger and the chants much louder. All along the way, Captain Sellen and the kids sing in unison. And for everybody involved, it's a healthy diversion.
It's really rewarding just to hear them. And I don't know, it's kind of like, I feel like I might be teaching them something. They might be learning from it. And that might sound corny or whatever, but when I'm running and they're all chanting, and we try to add a few things in there to help them learn, numbers and stuff, and it's just a lot of fun.
Sellen says he'll run every night as long as he's here. And there's no doubt as long as he's here, the kids will be too.
I don't know, maybe I'm the Mr. Rogers of Camp Zaku or something.
In Zaku, Iraq, Steve Dunn, Channel 2 News.
I remember when we were there at Northern Iraq, and we went with Northwest medical teams to follow them as they were helping those folks out there. And you had to think about, here are these children really in this war-torn country, in the middle of a war, would come every night and just relieve some of that stress that they were dealing with and run around that camp, and they'd sing the whole way. I remember somebody telling me, you got to go to this Camp Zaku and do a story. And we went, and I just could not believe what we saw. And that would definitely rank up as one of my favorite stories of all time.
That highlights one of your immense talents of being a storyteller, but really finding the human element in stories that people connect with and people relate to.
Well, this guy made it easy, I'll tell you that much. In fact, I would love to see where he is today, because the impact he had on those kids was just immense.
We'll try to find him. You've done a lot of remote. I've done several with you, between Blazers, opening day. We've done State House. We've done natural disasters if there's been a tornado or flooding. Also, when same-sex marriage became legal.
Yep. You and I went and did a live deal on that as well. We had former Governor Barbara Roberts was there as well. That was, for this program, that was always the real fun for me, when we'd step outside the studio once in a while and do our shows. We did them from the Capitol so often. We did when Ammon Bundy and the takeover over in Burns, we were there for several days for that. So, yeah, as I look back now, of course, being in the studio is great, particularly with you, Deb. But if we can step out once in a while, too, you get right with the people. That's really where it's fun.
Well, always being with you, you always made it calm and... Welcome back to the special Your Voice, Your Vote on this Sunday morning. We're talking to Steve Dunn. I'm actually interviewing him. And it's funny because you're in such a public position, but what people may not realize is how private a person you really are.
Yes, I am. It's time to go. Thanks for having me, Deb. This is going to get down to the nitty-gritty. Is that what I may have to escape real fast. Keep that door open, please.
This is our opportunity to get to know you, our viewers, who may not know the inside.
Right.
Story of Steve Dunn.
What else you want to talk about?
Well, let's start with, you've always wanted this job. You've shared the story with me several times. You've always wanted this job. How fortunate.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, when I was a very young kid, my parents bought me a tape recorder for my birthday, and I would interview everybody in the neighborhood, the family dog, anybody who would come up to me. And I just knew from that point on, I just wanted to be in television news. And I remember there was a news anchor back in Detroit by the name of Bill Bonds that was just huge in Detroit. And I would sit there and I'd watch him every single day. My dad would say, should you be watching so much TV news? And, I was very young at the time. And I said, well, I'm fascinated. I ended up interning for him years later and told him that story. But, yes, it's just always been kind of on my brain that I wanted to do it.
Okay. Behind the scenes, on camera, people know that you like to tell dad jokes or your puns. Right. But you're quite the prankster as well.
And it's gotten me in a lot of trouble, to be honest with you. In fact, here at Katu, I'm surprised I still have this job, to be very honest with you. Because at one point, I had put out a story within our newsroom, a fake story, that one big singer who was coming for a concert here many years ago, that the concert had been canceled. And I did it completely as a joke because one of the producers was a huge fan of this singer. So I sent it to him, and it ended up being sent around to a number of different people. And next thing you know, we ran it on the air. Our morning news people ran that this concert had been canceled, and it was awful. The local radio station was reporting it. Everybody was reporting this concert was canceled.
Right.
People were calling Memorial Coliseum to try and get their ticket refunds and everything else. So I got called into the boss's office, and it did not go well.
But you're still here.
But I'm still here.
Lesson learned to everybody in their jobs.
Well,
Be
sort
careful.
of lesson learned, because I really didn't learn. I did other things since then, but it was, it's all in fun.
We've always had fun, whether we're shooting promos. We've done a lot of Blazers preview promos, and you've let me appear to be shooting baskets all the time.
Yeah, and Deb, I don't know if you've seen that particular promo. We should run that at some point, where Deb was making shot after shot after shot after shot. It was pretty incredible. I didn't know he had that talent.
I didn't either.
When you visualize, you create a confidence that pushes you toward your goal, much like when you visualize a basketball going through the hoop, seeing that ball go through the hoop over and over. Deb, do you mind?
Sorry.
Helps you become better and better. In other news tonight, just lots of fun. And that, of course, is because TV news, as you all know, can be very stressful. And particularly since the pandemic and so on. So anything we can do to lighten things up just makes things easier for everybody involved.
Is there anything that you want people to know about you that maybe they don't?
Well, I mean, the number one thing in my life, of course, my son, who is almost 14 years old, and he's, everything to me. You know how important your kids are to you. And he's grown up, and he's now, it's more important for him to be with his friends sometimes than with his dad, and so you watch that happen. But he's it for me, and one of the reasons I'm stepping away, I want to be able to spend some more time with him, even if he doesn't want me around.
You'll be in the corner.
I'll be stalking him, for sure.
You'll be stalking him. How do you want people to remember your time here as an anchor at K2? 39 years.
I just hopefully always try to stay down the middle on as many stories as I possibly could, and whether it was someone who came on the set here that was a Democrat or Republican, you gotta stay down the middle, because people at home expect that. They really do.
You sound like Bill Shanley when you said it that way.
Did I really?
You gotta stay.
To make your free throws. But honestly, I just have tried so hard, and our producers, Yvonne Bernicle, and all of them have been very supportive of that, because that's our job. People at home can decide where they want to go. They want to go left, they want to go right. Whatever they want to do is great with them. But our job is to report it right down the middle. So I've tried to do that, and hopefully that's what they remember.
And accurately, speaking of, is there anything you want to clear up? Any misconception of anything?
Where are you going with that one?
You know where I'm going with that.
No, I don't.
What is the number one question people ask you? And me.
Okay, yes. No matter where I go, people say, are you and Deb Knapp married? And the problem is, if you look it up on Google and it says, is Steve Dunn married? Yes, he's married to his co-anchor, Deb Knapp. That's what it says. Deb has a husband. I want to clear that up. She has a husband and a family. We are not married. Lovely person, but it is not the case. I'm glad I'm able to clear that up.
Yeah,
now
I spend enough time with you already.
Yes, absolutely. We're husband
This is how far
and wife.
we've sat together for the last 22 years, 23 years almost.
Been a blast.
All right. Anything else that you want to add?
No, that's pretty much it. I do have a song I'd like to sing.
Oh, I don't think we have time for that.
Do we have? Can I sing the song?
No.
Okay. Producer Yvonne. No, you can't. All these years been great working with you and all these terrific people at K.